Let's draw some cute owl friends today. Oh, they're going to be amazing. Okay, the first thing I want you to do is have your paper sideways. So this is horizontal. And I'm drawing today with a marker so that you can see it really well on the video. But if you want to draw with a pencil, that might be a good idea. Okay? Now I'm going to start right here about in the center of my paper. And what I would love for you to do is put your hand in the center of the paper. Now you guys are not going to have your starting line any smaller than your hand. And that's going to help us draw nice and big, okay? And it's going to look a little bit like this. We are going to start with a U shape, like the letter U. Next, we're going to add some upside down V's on top of those lines. Upside down V's. Then we're just going to close off that line with just a little rounded. Next, we get to draw two circles, nice and big, because you know owls have really big eyes, so they can see at night. We'll get them close together and nice and big. Then we're going to draw another circle inside. Now, I'm using my black marker, so I'm going to show you a little trick really quick. You can wait until you have your crayons or markers, but I'm going to try and leave a little white circle or white box inside, and that's going to just show a little bit of a reflection in that eye. Okay, remember, you can do that when you start to color, so you don't have to do that with your pencil. Okay, next we're going to add a little bit of a pattern around these circles for the eyes. Now, a pattern is when we repeat a line, a shape, or a color. So right now we're just going to repeat this dashed line. And maybe we could even add a little bit of an extra detail and give a little bit of a curved line going around that dotted line. We're going to use all of our lines today. All the way around. Our owl is looking like he is starting out with some good patterns. Okay, next we're just going to draw between the eyes right underneath our last line a little bit of a curve. Oh no, he looks so sad. Well, that's not going to stay there. So next we're going to add a little bit of a V. And that's his beak. Now what I want to do is draw a really close to my original U, another U. Let's see if we can stay the same distance apart the whole way around. So that's gonna mean that you are in control that whole time. It is not a fast, wonky line. You can go slow and controlled that whole time. Now I'm going to just curve this line to match. Now it looks like my owl has a big, giant, happy face. Well, let's give him some pattern texture. So we are going to repeat this little curve line all the way down this shape, and that's going to look like feathers. Now we know what feathers feel like, right? Yep, they're nice and soft. And we are going to draw these feathers. We're going to try and stay as much the same as we can when we make this little curved line across, so that our feathers really start to look like feathers on his belly. All the way down. Now you guys can pause this anytime you need to finish. Something like that might take you an extra minute or so, but you can pause it and then join me when you're done. All right, we get to make his little wings next. So I'm gonna start right over here, sort of next to his nose. Draw an air in the air line, and then we can know, all right, this is gonna be like an oval shape, but I'm not gonna go back to his body. I'm gonna stop there, and I'm gonna do that 2 more times. A bubbly, bumpy, curvy line, and a bubbly, bumpy, curvy line. Now we get to do that on the other side. So I'm gonna air draw across so that I can get it pretty close to the same spot. And again, bubbly, bumpy, curvy line. And we have 2 wings for our owl. All right, let's give him some little textures. So let's just make some little curved lines all in his wings. They're just gonna be little bitty curved lines. Now, if you guys want, you could just do a few in pencil to remind yourself. And then when you start to use your crayons or your markers, then you'll know, oh yes, I need to fill those wings up with my little curvy lines, okay? Because you'll probably want to go over this with your colors. Whatever colors you decide to use. You can do crayon, you can do colored pencils, you can use markers, you could even do our fun little owl friend in crayon, and then if you have paints at home, you can paint the background. That always turns out amazing. Okay, his wings are done. Oh, he's so full of pattern. He's looking so good. All right, let's give these little legs. Now I'm gonna make this little shape. It's sort of like a rounded rectangle down here off of his body shape. I'm gonna start with those. Then I'll make 2 diagonal lines, not too big, coming out, but they have a little space between them so we can color those in, okay? Now these feet, I'm gonna have a little zigzag line. So I'm gonna make some little points using my diagonals and my zigzag. All right. Oh, you know he needs some texture in his little legs. Let's do this. We're gonna curve a little line from one side, and that's gonna actually make it look like his little legs have a roundness to them. That's awesome. Oh, now we get to do one of my favorite things in our artwork. We get to bump and jump. So I'm gonna draw a branch next. And when I get to his little foot, his leg, I've got to bump into it, and then I'm gonna jump over his little foot. I might wiggle out a branch here. Hold on. Wiggle out a branch. All right, on to my, oh, I'm gonna bump into his little foot. Now I don't wanna go through it, so I'm gonna jump over it and keep going. Now this is a branch, so it doesn't have to be super perfectly straight. Remember, We want to give it a little bit of a bumpy texture, kind of like our bump and jump. And I might draw another branch going up there and out. Now on the bottom of it, I can really get some different branches coming off of the bottom. And we don't have to worry about bumping and jumping because his feet are already above. Okay? We just want some cool branch layers in there. Now we could even put some textures in our branch, and we could wiggle some little lines, because you know branches have lots of texture with their bark. Okay, next we're going to draw. Oh, we're not finished. No. We're going to add more owl friends. Okay, so you can pause it if you're still on your branch and then come back to me, okay? Okay, next we're going to remember your hand. We don't want to go much smaller than your hand, but this one's going to be a little bit of a different shape. So this U is going to be a little bit smaller, narrow wise, okay? A little bit more narrow than this first owl. Now this little ear is going to be sideways on the V, sideways V. And when I make this line coming around, I'm going to give it a little bit of a zigzag so it looks like his little feather hair is popping up. Okay, now let's draw his big round eyes. And I think this owl friend wants to look at the friend that's here. So he's going to have two circles inside, and we're going to put them on that left side so it looks like he is looking over beside him. And his beak can just be a little upside down triangle. Now let's give our wings for this one. We're going to come from right in here on the inside of his body, and we're just going to make his little wings come rounded line, and maybe a longer one down. It's like he has them onto his belly. But we need to make some texture on his little belly. So let's make some little curvy lines, but they don't have to touch like the other one. They can be a little bit different with a little bit of space between. And what should we do on these wings? Maybe we can just repeat that line and make some bigger curves. When we made little tiny curves on this one, we can make bigger curves on this one that look like that original line we drew. Okay, they're looking so good. Now let's make this one. His little feet are going to come down, and we want to give some little rounded feet on his. So we don't want to bump, we don't want to go too far onto our, well, I should say, go too far onto my branch because I'm using a Sharpie. You guys could erase. So if you wanted to bring your lines down a little bit, you could, and you could absolutely erase that tree branch line that goes through the foot, because we want the foot to be on top of our tree branch, so it looks like it's overlapping. And that's the benefit of drawing with a pencil, so you can do that. All right, now, you know what, you guys? I'm going to let you fill in this side. Who's with our two owl friends? Oh, I hope that you can stretch your imagination and you can draw something really good. It could be another owl friend. It could be another creature altogether. I don't know. I can't wait to see what you do. I don't think I want to stop though. I think I want to draw a few little leaves coming off of my tree branch here. It's just so fun once you start. It's hard to stop. Okay. You guys are going to have so much fun coloring this in. And do remember that when you color, you want to color super solid and neat. So remember with your crayons, that means going back and forth, 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 and getting it really solid. All